Hey you guys, welcome to the Ender 3 video for a setup. This is the unboxing of the Ender 3. Here's the power supply. We'll be putting this bad boy together piece by piece. Here's the screen. And I will show you step by step how we get it done. Hot in. Let's go. Alright, so right now I got my arms up. All we have to do is go on the bottom. Kind of dark. Alright, so I got my arms screwed in. As you can see, all we did was simply, there are 2 screws on the bottom. Make sure those circles are shown on your left side. And this side has 2 openings for screws. Also screw it on the bottom. And the screws that you're going to use, the screws you're going to use are these big screws. They are the M545, the M545, the biggest screws in the back. Alright, so as you can see, we just installed our LCD screen. To install our LCD screens, we will need the M58 screws to screw in here and here, and that's it. Alright, so the third thing we did was install the power supply. And that's our screws right there on your right hand side, and we used the M420 screws to screw that in to install our power supplies. So far we did the arms, we did the screen, and we also did the power supply. So the fourth thing would be installing our Z end stop. Bring it all the way to the bottom, and for this one, your Z end package looks like this. So look for that label. Also, I believe it should come with the screws that we place in there. It should have little knots at the end so you can squeeze it in there. You can see that. So that's our Z and axle limit switch that we just installed as the fourth part to this Ender 3 3D printer. The C end should come in that package, and I believe it comes with screws in there. Alright, so for our fifth step, we just installed the Z stepper motors. And we used the M4 18P screws to install via here, the front, and coming through on this side. Okay, once again we just installed the Z stepper motors, and we used the M4 18P screws to install it via the front into the 2 holes that were in the front here. We are almost done with our Ender print. Stay tuned for the next step. Alright, so for our sixth step, we just installed one of the Z carriages, which is this. We have one on the left, and we have this one on the right. Just to get it together, just make sure it looks just like that when sliding it in. This should be in front when putting that Z carriage in. This on your left, and this on your right. You're slowly getting there. Okay, so our second mission is to tighten the C cartridge screws with this tool, your little wrench. There's one on your left side, and there's another one on your right side. And C cartridge screws for this one is right here. Okay, make sure they're nice and tight, but not too tight where it's not moving. But basically where they could be leveled off without sliding down. Alright, so in the 7th part we installed the hot end motor and also the hot end itself onto the X-axis bar. X-axis and your hot end. X-axis and your hot end. So for those who would like to know how I installed the X-axis, onto this plate you have 2 screws in the back, which are your M4 16, the M4 16 screws, which looks like that. They have little washers with them. You would start from the back and let them go into the holes, and same thing for here, back and go into the holes. The reason why the back, you'll see on the bar, the X-axis bar, you'll see that it's a little bit stripped out is because there's a screw there and it should line perfectly with the screw in the back, as you can see. So part 7 will be installing the hot end. Part 8, the X-axis bar, as you can see. Remember, screws go in the back. There's 2 screws that go in the back. There's 1 screw here and 1 screw here from the back, and then you slide the X-axis bar nicely. I need to loosen up mine a little bit more so it can move freely. And if that doesn't help making it move freely, you come on the bottom, not these screws, but on the bottom of the 3D printer itself, those screws right there, you adjust them a little bit to make sure that your X-axis bar moves freely. We are almost done. Stay tuned for the next part. So, on our 9th step, we have the top X-axis bar installed. And we use the M525, the M525 screws to install the top bar. Okay, and we are almost there. Okay, so next is installing the axis passes block, which is this one right here. Don't tighten it up yet because we still need to put the belt on. This is the package that it comes in. X-axis passive block. This is what you would install on your right hand side. As I mentioned, do not tighten it all the way because we still need to put the belt on. Alright, so after installing your idler, which is this part right here which comes with the screws and one of the clear bags, you would also find a bag with your belt that goes around the X-axis motor, right? After that, we're just gonna pull it around. Let me show you as I mentioned, pull it around, tuck your first corner in here, pull it all the way to the other side, all the way over here under the wheels, push it through all the way to the other side of the axis, to the axis motor, push it right under there. As you can see, it's wrapped all around the axis motor, all the way to this end right here. As I mentioned in a few videos ago, this will give you the ability to adjust it and make it as tight as possible. The goal is to keep the belt tight as possible so it moves without skipping on the axis motor, which is on this side. So the goal is push this back as soon as you get those all around, get the belt all around, push this back until it's nice and tight, adjust these, and that's how you get the belt on there after installing the idler. After adjusting the belt, we can head over to our lead screw. You go from the top into this hole, into the cylinder. You can loosen up the cylinders, especially the top one. You can loosen it up a little bit so it goes a little bit more. All the way to the bottom, you can loosen that one up too. And you can play around with this height as high as you want it or as low as you want it. But the lead screw definitely has to be in there proper. So that means you might have to adjust this screw right here on top and let it go all the way to the bottom and then tighten it back up. And that's your lead screw to keep it going up and down. Okay, so we just installed the spool holder, which you can also find in the kit. For the spool holder, we're going to use screw MT and M58. That's your M58 screws right here, and underneath you'll have those little knots, as you can see. Looks like that, which goes right under. So just in case, make sure you unscrew these so you can slide them right in there. If it's easier for you, slide it right in there. As you can see them, they're underneath. But yeah, that's the spool holder just installed. And to install those, you would need the M5T and the M58. We're almost done and almost up to our power supply settings. Now installing the bolt and tube lock. We can now take the bolt and tube and insert it right in here, and it will automatically lock at the end. This is the bolt and tube lock. They might have a different name for it, but I call it the bolt and tube lock. So when I pull out, the bolt and tube won't come out at all. So that's installed. Okay, so as far as power supply, we're going to connect the female into the male. That's for the power supply, which will power up the whole entire printer. As you can see, we're doing the electric part of the 3D printer itself. Okay. We also connected the Z-axis stepper motor, which you can see right here, which would be the shortest one, so you could connect it right into the Z-axis stepper motor. In order to extrude, we need to make sure we have our extruder stepper motor also plugged in into our extruder. Right here, it's going to extrude out the filament. Make sure that's plugged in. It comes with this one. This has 3 connectors in one. So your extruder stepper motor. Also the X-axis stepper motor, which goes right here. That's for the X-axis, which is going to go side by side. Make sure that's plugged in. It's all connected on the same thick wire that you see right here. Also, we have the X end stop switch right here. Also connect on the same thick wire. It's the smallest plug. This is a small plug. This is a big plug, and the X-axis stepper motor has a big plug. Just in case you're just wondering where the plug will wire or what pin to. This is the setup. Also in this corner you have the Z end stop switch, which will be the shortest link in the front of the printer itself. Make sure that's also connected, which goes right here. That's for the Z end stops. Ender 3D printer made by NYC 3D Printing, done and complete. Now let's see if it powers on. Ender 3.